There's a storm brewing in the world of venture capital, and it's not just a passing trend, it's a reckoning. For years, the same script has played out: chasing quick returns, chasing growth at all costs, chasing the next big thing that looks flashy on the surface but hollow underneath. Venture capitalists have been grinding the same gears, burning out startups that look promising in numbers but leave communities, environments, and real people behind. And now, something's breaking. They're pivoting. Not because they just decided to get woke or follow a fad. No. They're pivoting because the old way is cracking apart. And deep down, even investors can no longer ignore the booming disconnect between what they fund and what the world desperately needs. Think about it. Every day, millions of brilliant ideas are backed, but most of those stocks crash hard because they're blind to the real problems: social inequality, environmental collapse, communities ignored, ecosystems destroyed. VCs have been chasing dollars but leaving scars. That's the truth that's been strangling them from the inside out. The pressure you feel, the gnawing feeling that something's off, isn't just paranoia. It's reality knocking at the door. Many investors today are waking up to that storm. They see that the biggest risk isn't a failed startup, it's failing humanity itself. The markets are volatile, yes, but the social fractures, climate catastrophes, and systemic inequalities are ticking bombs beneath every balance sheet. There's no ignoring this anymore, no matter how many glossy pitches of ultra-fast growth you get. And that's why the pivot towards impact isn't just a smart move, it's the only move that makes future sense. Because if money is going to have power, and it always does, it needs to channel that power into something that heals, builds, and restores. Otherwise, it's just feeding the rot. But hear this. It's not about charity. It's not about forcing good investments either. Impact investing is a weapon, a radical, unstoppable force that redefines what success looks like. Imagine capital that fuels innovation not just for profits, but for purpose. Imagine startups that don't just aim to scale, but to uplift, protect, and create lasting value for humanity and the planet. This is the awakening, the real pivot that pulls the veil off the illusion that business and conscience are enemies. So what's really happening when VCs pivot to impact? They are finally admitting that the old game treated people as data points and nature as a resource to be exploited. They're realizing that this breakdown, the climate disasters, the social unrest, the fractured economies, actually threaten returns more than any market crash ever could. The system that rewarded obedience, conformity, and empty promises is mutating because survival demands rebellion. Impact investing is the rebellion that shouts, "No more shortcuts, no more excuses, no more silence when the world burns." But here's the brutal truth that most won't say out loud. Many VCs are pivoting because they're scared. Scared not just for their portfolios, but for their legacy. Because looking back, it's clear. Funding companies that poison environments, exploit workers, or ignore social well-being is a losing bet beyond the spreadsheets. The real value lies in businesses that are rooted in resilience, empathy, and transformation. They know it now. The ones who don't will be left with nothing but broken promises and ruined reputations. Yet beyond the fear, there's something far more powerful driving this shift. A desperate, almost reckless hope. Hope that entrepreneurship can be a force of real change. Hope that impact investing can ignite movements, communities, and ideas that slip past the suffocating control of outdated systems. Those who dare to step into the edge, the ones who reject the status quo and hunger for more than just easy wins, these are the ones rewriting the rules. The impact investors who don't just throw money at problems but partner with founders who live and breathe solutions, these are the real trailblazers. And you might wonder, how do you even start to make sense of this in a world that punishes difference, where the comfortable and compliant still cling to the old ways? Here's the raw truth. The only way to truly crack this code is to stop playing it safe, to stop chasing approval, and start listening to the fire inside. That quiet voice that says, "This is not enough. There must be more." You have to become sovereign over your choices. Your will has to be the weapon that shatters the glass ceilings of mediocrity and obedience. Impact investing means being critical, not just of the deals on paper, but of the entire system you're stepping into. Question the promises, the growth metrics, the definitions of success. Don't settle for optimized forms of old ideas repackaged as innovation. Real transformation demands you redefine what you're even measuring. Is it just income? Or is it lives improved, ecosystems healed, communities strengthened? This is not for the faint of heart, and it's certainly not a quick fix. It's patience built on purpose, long-term vision that sees beyond quarterly gains to generations uplifted. Impact investors are learning that the real game isn't how fast you grow, but how deep you invest, how you build alliances with those burning as hot as you do, who refuse the comfort of complacency. This selective alignment is your power. It's the collective sparks that ignite a fire no system can put out. And make no mistake, the liberation that impact investing offers isn't given to you on a silver platter. It's seized through bold action, through relentless transformation of the way capital moves, the way bets are placed, the way networks connect. You don't conform to the system, you transcend it. You don't ask to fit in. You own your space on the edge because that's where progress lives. The real reason venture capitalists pivot to impact is because impact investing is the last stand against a world that would rather chain you with rules than unleash your potential. It's the attempt to reclaim the raw, untamed force of the individual, the power to change, to build, to create new realities that others said were impossible. This movement tears down the facade of freedom sold by old institutions and replaces it with something real: agency, sovereignty, and a mission that unites difference instead of erasing it. If you feel that tightness inside, the frustration with empty promises, the hunger for something that truly moves the needle, then you're already part of this shift. The impact investing pivot is your invitation to join the few who refuse to wait, the few who would rather burn than blend in. This is about more than money. It's about unleashing a force that's been buried beneath layers of convenience and conformity for too long. VCs aren't just changing where they put their money. They're changing how they see the world, how they see themselves. They're stepping away from the center, from the safety of the known, and diving into the edge where the exceptional breathes. Because progress doesn't come from playing by the old rules. It comes from breaking them, from rejecting mediocrity, from daring to become more in a world that tells you to stay small. That's why the pivot to impact isn't just a trend. It's a revolution hiding in plain sight. It's the reckoning of a system built on obedience, the flowering of those who refuse to live a borrowed life, the rise of sovereign individuals who see beyond the narrow lenses of profit and loss. This is how the future will be made, not by those who wait for permission, but by those who seize their power and build what's next with fire in their veins and grit in their bones. So, the real reason VCs are pivoting to impact is because they can no longer afford not to. Because the world demands more than empty growth. It demands transformation, resilience, and liberation. And when capital flows with purpose, the impossible becomes reachable. The silent become heard, and the broken world begins to heal. This is not just investing. This is rebellion. This is awakening. And this is just the beginning.